Second nature for children is in the house. And of course, I got my guy, Bro D, with me. Absolutely. We're going to have a great time and a great conversation tonight. And it was a question that Bro D brought to the table, and I wanted him to come on and give his perspective. And if you would like to bring anything to the table dealing with the mind, the body, or the soul, all you have to do is hit me up, snfchildren@gmail.com. And I'm definitely gonna let Brother D do his thing on this question. And this question was kind of broke down because he can get a little long with the question where we may have to do it by 2, 3 times just to finish that one question. But I'm excited about this one here. And we're gonna go with it. Why do blacks submit to religion so easily? And I gotta pull it up right here because I want to put this little bit on and just put something on your mind, but would not submit to knowledge. I gotta just add that little bit on to that right there. Because I was gonna leave it at why do blacks submit to religion so easily? But I gotta put that little part that he added on, but would not submit to knowledge. And so in just a moment, I'm gonna let Bro D go and share his perspective. This is definitely one of his questions. And so, family, as you coming into the house and coming into the room, make sure you subscribe, family. Make sure you hit them thumbs up and make sure you share this information with someone that you care about and maybe someone you don't like. Make sure they get it. And so we're going to get started. In Facebook family, make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe, like, and share. So we're going to kick it off and I'm going to let Bro D open up the floor. Well, why do blacks submit to religion so easily? What's your perspective on that, Bro D?
Brother, I think a big percentage of it just starts, it's like a generational thing. It starts with the mindset because you have a lot of families, that grow up in the church, they've grown up in the church, and then they go 2 or 3 generations. So they teach their children, and then their children teach their children. So it goes back. It's kind of like a job. It's the same concept where everybody, they will say, oh, you got a good job. You work with Mr. John. Then they get their kids on with Mr. John's sausage company. And then the kids work there. They say it's a great job. It pays good benefits. So it's and it lines up with the mindset also. But what I just never understood about it, Brother King, is that they're so submissive. Blacks are so submissive to religion than any other thing on the planet. You can't get them to commit with helping out in the community, but you get them to commit in a ritual, because basically all it is a formality and a ritual that they do every Sunday. And a lot of them, you have some good ones out there that are dedicated, determined, and they're dependable and everything. But you have a lot of them, it's just a formality on Sunday. They believe in just going to church on Sunday, and then they live the rest of the 6 days of the week like anybody else of the world. And even the good book tells you you're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world. So you're supposed to put a lot of the worldly things aside if you're really about God. That's what all of the preachers usually preach about. So you're supposed to put the work in action, but a lot of them aren't putting the work in action, because for the life of me, I can't figure out, why do we have more churches than we have package stores? But both of them hinder us to a certain degree. You have a few that are putting in the work, but I've never seen a package store bring any prosperity. It's just getting paid, sucking the community dry.
Okay.
So it's just like a drug. So I think for the most part, brother, it's the mindset. And it's not, like they say in the good book, renewing of the mind, is programming of the mind, because most of the time it's not up for discussion. If it's something, usually if it's something you believe in, you can discuss it. But like I said, we talked about it a few segments back. Politics and religion are two of the things where you get so many disagreements and people get emotionally tied up and everything. But if you have a belief, why can't you stand on it and discuss it? But they're closed-minded when it comes to that, most people. So I never understood that, brother. What's your take on it?
Well, I would say this right here. I give my perspective and my opinion of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it definitely coming from history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like you said, coming down the line of generations and generations and generations till it get to today, 2023,
Yes.
where as people of color, we are still very submissive.
Yes.
You know, and today we're living in a time where it's still slavery and we're still within a system.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been, like you say, we have been programmed from many years back to be submissive. Even
Right.
if you go back, let's go back even before the time of slavery that most people understand slavery as being up under the Europeans, but we
Yes.
enslaved ourselves first. Black on black crime was
Right.
there first. You understand?
Yes.
There's even readings where you would see where European slave owners went to black slave owners because there
Yes.
was a time when blacks owned black slaves. They
Right.
had servants.
Absolutely.
And so there's writings where you could see where a lot of the European slave owners went to black slave owners and asked
Mm-hmm.
them, let me buy them Negroes from you because
Mm-hmm.
I would treat them better.
Yeah.
So what happens a lot of times, brother, is that from history, we've been so submissive because we have
Mm-hmm.
always depended on a system.
Absolutely.
So when you go back in history, you will see where as black people, we had nothing but ourselves. That's
Right.
all we had. So when we was introduced to the Europeans,
Yeah.
religion, because when they took us from our culture, they took us from
Right.
our homeland, right?
Yeah.
And then they began to instill in us what they wanted to indoctrinate into us.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
ask you this right here,
Mm-hmm.
what were we as people of color worshiping before Jesus got here? See, it
Right.
was a way of living, and it was something we was doing before. Where
Yes.
we've been stripped of that, and then we've
Yes.
been halted at a time, and now we've been indoctrinated with
Mm-hmm.
a doctrine that makes you submissive and subservient to
Right.
the Europeans, and so I would say, why do blacks submit to religion so easily? Definitely from history,
Mm-hmm.
and always needing something to depend on,
Yes.
always needing something else to depend on
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking within ourselves and helping
Right.
ourselves. And that's why I say, that's why Dr. King and Malcolm X at a point bump heads so much
Right. Right.
because King, even though it seems like, man, he's doing a good thing because
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to get us equal rights and he's trying to do these things, but
Right.
he's pushing the blacks over into a system where
Right.
Malcolm was saying, let the Europeans have their system.
There you go.
Let us come as a people and do our own thing.
Right.
So we're just caught in
Mm-hmm.
a system from the past,
Mm-hmm.
And that chain has just been connected on link after link after link after link for generation, generation, generation. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's so easy to pull us in because when you understand slavery,
Yeah.
there was hope. It was something that we
Mm-hmm.
needed
To
back
hold on
then.
to hope. Yeah.
See, we're in a different time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd rather know than to believe.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we in
Yeah.
2023 now. And so what's happening and what keeps us down and what keeps us back is we're still living our old way. We're still thinking our
Yes.
old way.
Primitive. Yeah.
We're just still accepting. We are just still hoping. It's just like the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us, things that we want in life, there's a way to get it. But before we put the work in to
Mm-hmm.
get the things that we would really enjoy and like to have, we
Mm-hmm.
rather play the lottery for
Yeah.
hope. We
Hope.
hoping. And see, the Europeans know, especially black people, they
Mm-hmm.
know that as a people, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
say this, I
Mm-hmm.
bag it up. As a people, we are a very lazy people when it
Yeah, we
comes
are.
to working, and
Yeah.
especially for liberation.
Right.
And they know that, and they know
Mm-hmm.
that religion, it sells us belief, being saved,
Mm-hmm.
hope,
Hope. Yeah.
faith. See, it sells us this stuff that keep us wishing and wishing and wishing. But we
Mm-hmm.
got to get to the point where we know some things. We got to stop
Right.
depending. We got to stop depending on whatever religion you are. That small G, that
Mm-hmm.
small G that your religion has introduced you to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a belief as well. I'm not atheist, and
Right.
from a personal relationship, from the things that I've experienced in my life, where when the lights went off at night and I had to deal with that something. So I believe in that supreme being. I
Right.
believe in that something. I haven't just went where I don't believe it's nothing. No, I have a belief as well, but it's not the one that's been written in the book that I just should either believe
Mm-hmm.
as just accepting,
Mm-hmm.
or the one that just having faith in or just having hope. So I would say right now, as a people and people of color, that if we're gonna move forward, it won't be through religion. It won't be through
Right.
religion, And
Yeah.
and if anybody would like to leave a comment, you can shoot your comment. If anybody would like to hit me up, snfchildren@gmail.com. The floor is open, the door is open, and you can
Mm-hmm.
give your perspective because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm giving my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that religion has really hurt us as a people. I've done a video on that as well. It has truly separated us as a people. Done a video on that as well. And so make sure that you go back and look at those other videos. And if you have any questions or comments, definitely hit me up. So I definitely see why we are so submissive to religion, because it puts the responsibility on depending on somebody else instead
Right.
of us depending on ourselves. And like I said
Mm-hmm.
a little earlier, that was the conflict where Malcolm was like, we need to come together as a people. And even with the Nation of Islam that started in the early 1930s, trying
Right.
to pick the man up, dust yourself off, and be
Mm-hmm.
self-sufficient and do for self.
Right.
Or come and
Right.
take care of yourself and don't be depending on no one to take care of you. So
Right.
I think my opinion, that it
Mm.
has really hurt us to the point where we are always waiting on someone else or
Mhm.
something else to come and save us. Because
Mhm.
in the video we did Sunday, I
Mhm.
posed the question, if Jesus is the Savior, and
Right.
you could do Buddha, you could do
Mm.
Nation of Islam, you do all the religions. I
Right.
use Jesus a lot. I come from the Black Baptist Church, but I'm talking about
Okay.
all religions. I'm not
Mhm.
just um, putting Christianity out there by themselves. No, I'm talking about
Mhm.
all the religions.
Right.
But we talk about the Savior. We talk about Jesus,
Mhm.
and I just posed the question that how have Jesus saved you?
Mm.
How? Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
How? How has Jesus saved you when I know for a fact that the churches that I grew up in, most of the folks in the church physically are not
Mhm.
well.
Right.
So
Bad
I'm trying
health.
to see. So I'm
Yes.
trying to see how Jesus saved him when the
Right.
church is
How
not
did he
well.
save you? Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna let you come in with this. I gotta finish
Mhm.
these two up, and I'm gonna let you come right in. And
Okay.
I want to pick it back because I want to know,
Mhm.
how are you being saved by Jesus
Mhm.
when you're dealing with your mental health is not well?
Right.
Are you not calling on Jesus to help you with your mental
Mhm.
health? Because I'm gonna bring these statistics on and show that we're not doing well physically, we're not doing
Right.
well mentally, and definitely we're not doing well spiritually because we
Right.
have been so easily led into something else coming to help us till we're not
Mhm.
helping ourselves. And one
Right.
of the things that we are missing, and this is a fact, family, when it comes to the spiritual being, we don't love ourselves.
Mhm.
I put that out there. I say that love is a strong liking, okay,
Right.
as it's defined. Now, if you have
Okay.
a strong liking for
Mhm.
yourself, you'll take better care of yourself. If you had a
Right.
strong liking for anything,
Mhm.
you'll care for it more. You'll care for it more. So
Mhm.
people can say whatever they want to say, but I see a lack of spiritual wealth
Mhm.
for the way that we conduct ourselves and the way that we're not taking care of ourselves and
Right.
just being very unconscious to,
Mhm.
yeah, being very unconscious, not aware of where we are. You understand? We just
Yeah.
shut down. We just have really just shut down our consciousness. We have shut
Mhm.
down what is called having an experience.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna share them. I'm gonna let you go, Dave. But you asked me this.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get it all out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Get it
get it
out.
all
Get
out.
it out. Mhm.
A lot of us are not sharing that experience, and what I mean by that, what happens when you don't take care of yourself physically, mentally, or spiritually? We're not thinking what happens because if you don't take care of yourself physically, mentally, or spiritually, there's a price to pay.
Right.
And if you're not conscious to that price, you'll just keep going until you have to pay that price. That's not a price you want
Yes.
to pay. So we need to
No.
wake up. Yeah, we need to wake up as a people. And I'm telling you that religion is not the answer.
Mhm.
Religion, I'm gonna say it again, is not the answer. Well, how you gonna sit up here and tell me religion ain't the answer? I just told you, we suffering physically, we suffering mentally, we suffering spiritually, and you've been a religious person all your life. And every time I look
Mhm.
around, all I see, especially, are my religion, people that I'm associated with, or people I know of, or people I see. They always complaining about something.
Yeah.
When am I going to get
Some
the good
ailment.
stuff that the Savior is doing? I understand it's
Mhm.
going to always be trouble. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I understand that. But on a higher scale, I see more complaining
Mhm.
than I see us being saved as a people. I yield the
And
floor back to you, brother.
yeah, you will continue to see that because we got a few things going on. The religion, it also disenfranchised us. Okay. It disenfranchised us. It brainwashed us. As Malcolm said, all of the stuff that it lines up with was from the slave master, where Malcolm said, you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, you've been had. So I
Ran
lean
them
more
up.
toward him because his belief was us being self-sufficient. Because I see all of the other races other than us, they believe in looking out for their own. And that's amazing to me because I see a lot of the so-called Christians are in the worst health ever. We as Blacks are in the worst health ever. But every Sunday, the preachers are basically just preaching about Luke, Mark, and Matthew, and John. But what about the health? All these overweight people, obesity, highest numbers of all time, diabetes, you know. I just don't understand hypertension, you know. And then we haven't even gotten to the mental issues. We got all types of, because a lot of the mental illness is within the churches. Because if they say the old saying, say, doing something over and over constantly and expecting a different result is one of the definitions of insanity. So not only is it's disenfranchised us, brainwashed us, we're in the worst health and everything. And, it's bad all the way around because it's the same mindset. It's locked our brain up. It's like a box and there's no outlet. You got a hole and there's a hose going in the box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of the bad heat is going in the box, but there's nowhere for it to get out. Mm-hmm. So it's like you putting toxins in the box and none of it can come out. So, eventually, you're going to contaminate the whole box. So and a lot of it is lack of knowledge. And it still lines up with the slavery and the Europeans' way of thinking. It didn't have anything to do with our history because we're not European. We're from the motherland. So how do we take on another religion that lines up with slavery, has nothing to do with being self-sufficient, and it keeps our own people down? And you talk about submit, and even with the corrupt system that the man, quote unquote, set up, which keeps us at a disadvantage, and we're supposed to believe in a religion that teaches us to go by the rules that he set up, that set us up to fail anyway.
Absolutely.
How does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Am I missing something, brother?
No, and I mean that's right on point. That's right on point. And that comes to that second part that you had put on there because as a people of color, a lot of us are so attractive to, hoping,
yes.
hoping, just wishing and hoping and hoping. And if someone come along with knowledge that can trump your hope and help you get through that, you would, instead of you inquiring the knowledge or taking that wisdom, okay, you can keep running into that wall. You can keep running into that wall and keep just hoping that wall fall down, just hoping and hoping. And then here come knowledge comes along and tell you, hey, go around. Go around. Why you But before we take
Makes no
that knowledge
sense.
and that wisdom to go around,
Mhm.
we'll stay with where well, grandmama died, knocking on this
Yeah.
wall. Granddaddy died, knocking on this wall.
Mhm.
These ancestors knocked on this wall. But now we're in
Mhm.
another time, we're in another mindset where
Mhm.
someone is telling you, go around. You don't have to
Mhm.
keep running into the wall.
Right.
And so, so we are definitely, as a people, from history, and it stems from history. We are definitely sleeping. We're
Mhm.
sleeping. An illusion has been pulled over our eyes
Oh
because
man.
now that you got a little house and that you got a little car, you think that
Mhm.
you have arrived, you think that you have made it, and you're not understanding that if you're going into someone else's job, they still have you as a slave. But
Right.
so what the deal is now, see, back in the time, they will wake you up at a certain time in the morning
Mhm.
because they will have you back in the barn.
Right.
You couldn't be up in the plantation, they'll have you back
Mhm.
in the barn. So you got to
Mhm.
be up when that sun come up, then you got to be up doing whatever master would have you to do. Now,
Right.
he may, depending on how he feel, depending on how good you've been, he may give you a break sometime during the day. But when you
Yeah.
take that break,
Maybe.
you either gonna sit there or you're gonna go back to the barn. You can't go to the plantation. Then he
No.
gonna work it to a certain time of night. And
Mhm.
then once that work is over, you got to go back to the barn.
Right.
Okay. Now, that was back in the 1600s. Now let's bring
Mhm.
it up to 2023.
Okay.
First thing in the morning, you got to have your butt on that field. They're going into that job.
That's right.
Facts. You same scenario. It's just
Same
2023.
thing.
It just
Yeah.
been modernized. Now,
Right.
what they gonna do? They gonna give you a little break. Okay, they're gonna give you a little break because
Yeah.
they can put in some other little laws since that time. So now they're saying you got to make
Right.
sure you get these Negroes something to eat now. Don't stir up now. Get these Negroes something to eat. All right, but let them Negroes know they got a certain time
Right.
to have their butt back on the plantation. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We're in
That's right.
2023. Now you're gonna work until master allow you to get off. Now,
Yes.
once you get off, instead of them putting you back in the barn, now we're in 2023 where they pay you a couple of dollars, you go buy your own barn. You can't sleep in my plantation land no more.
Right.
You got to go buy your own barn. Now, watch what
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah.
You so depressed from being in a place all day that you
Mhm.
really don't want to be,
Right.
being around people that you really don't like.
That's right.
So now, when you leave a plantation, mentally, you're hurting and you don't even realize you're hurting because you've been in a place you don't want to be all day. You've been around people you really don't like. So when you leave the plantation, the first place you go is to the package store because I need some relief. I need to drink. I need to drink.
There you go.
Or you go get your drugs. I need to escape. So what you're trying to do a lot of
Yeah.
times, you're trying to escape reality. You're trying to escape
Right.
reality because you really don't enjoy your reality that you have set up for yourself and not understanding that it's still slavery. It's just updated. And that's why we're
Right.
not doing well. And so whether you know it or not, back when they had us in the barn and we was in there at night, all we had was to sing those old spiritual hymns. All we had was our spirit because we didn't
That was
have
the hope.
right, we
Right.
didn't have enough knowledge. See, we wasn't
Mm-mm.
educated back then.
No, we
So
wasn't
all we had,
educated.
all we had was that hope. So I understand
Right.
why our ancestors held on to that hope because they didn't have the knowledge. We was in a different time. But damn it, it's
Yeah.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's too much information. It's good to have hope, faith and this and that in certain things.
Yeah.
In certain things. But now you got to look within yourself, and it's time for you to make things happen, because that time is gone. We're in a new era and we're in a new time, but we're still stuck through generations with that old mindset. So
Right.
that's why it's so easy for us to be submissive to religion, because
Yeah.
we always depending on someone else. That's why we're so submissive. We surrender. We always depended on somebody else. And then we've been indoctrinated with a God, not the
Right.
supreme being, but a small g from all
Right.
men writing that can make their own God to make you submissive. And anytime knowledge comes around to tell you that that's not the way that is anymore, we're so incarcerated mentally till we don't
There
want
you
to
go.
hear. Yeah, we don't want to hear anything different than what I've been indoctrinated with. Either you the devil, or something wrong with you, or you got a problem,
Right.
and
Or
they're
you
not
going through
realizing
something,
it's
or he don't
always
strayed
something.
away. That's one of the
Right.
new things they say too. Oh, he don't strayed away, or he back out there in them streets. Knowledge don't have anything to do with being in the streets. You just can think for yourself. And you know, because see, some people are not naturally leaders anyway. Some people are followers. So they'll
Absolutely.
follow whatever they feel comfortable. See, they need that comfort.
Most
So
of
some
followers.
people need to be validated also. They
Absolutely.
need that self-validation. So whether it
Absolutely.
be family or friends, they need something to follow, something to believe in, somebody to follow or something to follow, because they don't have the leadership skills where they can think independently on their own or make it on their own. So they have to be self-sufficient, whether it's self-sufficient within the system or self-sufficient within any type of, it could be just a lot of times you got fraternities, you got sororities, you know, a brotherhood or sisterhood, or what have you. But my thing has always been knowledge. Knowledge is power. You know, faith is not power. That's a belief.
Yeah.
If you have faith, you know, you believe in it. They're both the same thing. It's just it's a strong belief. That's what faith is, a strong belief. And it still lines up with submission, which is still submission lines up with slavery. Because when you think about it, how many churches do you maybe know of or have experienced throughout your days when you were in the church growing up as a kid and then growing up as an adult, teaches you about financial independence? You don't even have but about 6 to 8 colleges in America that even teaches about financial independence. Most of them teach you to go get a job and work for somebody else. They don't teach you to get your own business. And the only way you can truly have freedom is you got to have your own business. Even the athletes, they're not free. You know, there's a book called The $40 Million Slave. Absolutely. You probably heard of that. Absolutely. Okay, so they're not free. They don't own any NBA, any teams. You know, they don't have any organizations that they own. Now they have leeway where a lot of them now is different from what it was, 50 years ago, because a lot of them have gotten a little smarter and they learn the game, even in the music industry. When a lot of people learn, like now, they want to go behind the scenes or produce or what have you, then eventually get there. They're working towards something so they can do their own thing. But you don't have, it's not even 5% of us as minorities that own anything when you talk about the big conglomeration of these corporations, because it's still going to be a lot of stuff that the man not going to let you in. If you're talking about football or basketball, you might can get a little small little team, a losing organization, but they're not gonna let you sit at the round table with them. And that's the same thing Malcolm was trying to tell Martin. We need to do our own thing. Stop depending on a system and a country that's already rejected us from the beginning, because the deck is already stacked against us. So for me, I'm not going to believe in any religion that teaches me to be certitude, submissive, and lines up with bowing down, because I don't bow down to anybody. I'm my own person. I got my own mind. I don't need, if whatever if you're grounded. Now, my God, the only God I know is within, and that dwells within me. It has nothing to do with my religion better than your religion, or you wrong if you don't believe this religion. Because as far as I'm concerned, this hell right here. I've never known anybody come back and say, hey, man, I just got back from hell. It's bad, man. Or I just got back from heaven. That's where you want to be. It's jumping up there.
Hey,
you ever known anybody?
I never known anybody. And Bro D, that was a mouthful right there. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to leave that right there. And family, make sure you go subscribe. Family, make sure that you hit that thumbs up and share this information. And Bro D, I want to thank you so much for such a powerful question and digging into that thing with me tonight. And hey, we're going to come back together Sunday, 8 o'clock. And if anybody would like to join us, just hit us up. And Bro D, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.
Anytime. You too, brother.
Appreciate you.
Peace.